Good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, January 13th, 2015. And this is Before the First Cup with Jules and Zorie here on UCY.tv. And if we hold on just 1 second, we will get Zorie into the picture so we can say good morning. How is everybody today? Happy Tuesday. It's frigid 6 degrees here right now. And a winter wonderland. I think Zorie's here. Good morning, Zorie. How are you?
I'm okay. What about Winter Wonderland?
It's a winter wonderland. 6 degrees and snowing.
Oh, wow.
Looks like powdered sugar in a sugar powder
dish bowl.
Yeah, it's like all stacked up on the trees because there's no wind, you know?
That's pretty.
And it's the light and fluffy. Yeah, it looks like a poster outside. You want to hear Jingle Bells.
Yeah, I love playing in that kind of snow that's not heavy wet, but just fluffy.
Yeah, not this year with the big 200 amp power cable running across my yard. It's probably not a good idea, but...
Probably not.
So, how goes it?
It was nice yesterday. I worked outside most of the day. I love those days. Now it looks like not going to be nice.
They're far and few between here in January.
Oh, I bet. Do you have any clear days there in January?
Like clear how?
Like blue sky and...
Yeah, it was sunny here a few days ago.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's
freezing.
Hit and miss, and yeah, cold. I mean, it was up to 22 or 24 yesterday, I think, before it started plummeting again.
Wow. That's not even getting up to our coldest day.
I think the high today was supposed to be 13, and the low is 4.
Wow.
So... yeah, not pleasant, I can tell you that. And I feel bad for the poor little animals out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, here, yesterday it was probably in the around 68, 70. Today it's supposed to be 53.
Oh, jeez.
I know. It's not cold at all. So I'll take the weather, thank you. You can have your 4 degrees.
No, I don't know. I'd trade that, at least for a day.
Yeah. But, oh.
So, what do we do?
Should we continue what we were on yesterday with the vaccines and...
For me to get there, I need a ramp up of about a half an hour. I can't just roll out of bed and talk.
Okay.
I've had like a half a sip of coffee right now, and my stomach's not feeling too hot.
Ooh, not good. Your throat feel better?
It's not sore, but it's still scratchy. It means it needs more sleep. Lots more. It doesn't like... I mean, I haven't ever recovered, and I've had to do radio every morning for 2 hours. So,
yeah.
You know, it's not helping.
So it wasn't
by the end of 2 hours, my throat feels injured again because I'm yelling for 2 hours.
Right, especially at the end of yesterday's show. I mean...
Well, it happens regardless if I wanted to or not. It just comes out loud.
Yeah. Let's see. I was just going over the news because I was in making coffee because I forgot to make it last night. I put it up there and get it ready. Oh.
I mean, I got weeks of news to talk about. I just don't know what yet, and I'm not awake yet.
Okay.
You know, I don't have anything open yet. My eyes don't work yet. My brain doesn't work yet. Anyone who didn't get the fact that this is called Before the First Cup.
First cup.
This isn't after the first cup when I'm all amped up. This is before the first cup.
Right. Which means it's slow starting.
Which means that I get to complain every morning.
There you go.
Because that's what I do before I drink my coffee.
Until she wakes up and then
I've
all
been
hell
doing
breaks
that my
loose.
whole life. Don't mess with Jules before her first cup of coffee. That is a rule in my house, and everyone abides by it in my family.
If they're smart.
Don't mess with her. Yeah, if they're smart.
I had one friend that, man, you did not want to wake him up. He woke up, I don't care how careful you were, he woke up punching.
Is this Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. Why, do you feel like Monday again?
No, I forgot again last night to post the schedule for Tuesday and or for the next day. So it still says Monday on Facebook. I'm putting it up for Tuesday.
Oh, well, get everybody faked out. Wow, I thought it was Tuesday. No, it's Monday. I seen. 2 Mondays in a week. No, not very nice. No.
Mondays, what was the motto of the show? Mondays have been canceled?
Yeah.
Due to lack of interest.
Yeah, there you go. I did see one thing that I'm kind of curious if it'll come to pass. Remember that guy that homeless guy that they killed and then sucked the dog on him?
Yeah, I saw
last
that.
year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're charging him with murder, but I'm just, after the Terry Thomas, I don't know. I just don't.
Well, right. And that's my whole thing. I mean, it's interesting that at least they're looking at it, but don't hold your breath.
Yeah. I mean, I lost all faith. I mean, I didn't have much faith in the justice system anyway, but when they let Terry Thomas's killers go, I kind of just said, I don't know, it's just completely down, gone. So we'll see. This is the first time I've seen officers really charged, in actual murder, so.
Right. It just is going to depend now on whether or not there's really a trial.
Yeah.
Or just a puppet show for everybody.
Yeah, to show that, we do hold them accountable. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just like Eric Holder said with Fast and Furious. People were held accountable. Their titles were changed. That's their idea of accountability.
Right.
But, excuse me. Anyway, well, I don't know. We'll see. And isn't it funny? It takes them a year to even decide to charge somebody. So, I didn't read the article, but I will before I ask.
There you go.
Let's see. Okay, here it comes. New Mexico police officers face murder charges in shooting death of homeless man. 2 New Mexico police officers accused of killing a homeless man will be charged with murder, the state's district attorney announced on Monday. They are the first charges against Albuquerque officers in connection with shootings. Can you imagine the first after all those shootings and stuff?
And what's interesting, too, I didn't read the story either, but I paid a lot of attention to what happened in New Mexico. The federal government, the Justice Department, actually came in and took over the police department. Another one where they're under now Department of Justice oversight.
Oh, like that's going to be better.
Well, right. The Department of Justice run by the biggest criminal of them all. I mean, I just don't get how that's a solution to anything.
I know. I mean...
Criminal! Attorney General Eric Holder.
And when is the man going to leave?
I don't know. There was a video clip of him yesterday that I didn't even watch it. I just shared it because he was in it.
Yeah.
Just because.
It's just, And I seen something else that, what was it? And I kept thinking to myself, I thought he was leaving. When is the man leaving? He's But anyway, okay, going back. James Boyd, a 36-year-old homeless man diagnosed as schizophrenic, was shot by the Albuquerque Police Department after he became engaged in a 4-hour standoff with the officers who caught him illegally camping in the Sandia foothills. Boyd was armed with 2 small knives. Now, I remember watching this back when it happened.
It was all bullshit. It was all bullshit. They had an entire gang of cops and one homeless guy laying on the ground, and they had a dog coming at him.
Right after they had shot him, the dog was out there. But I remember watching it distinctly. He had one, like, what are they, Boy Scout knives, about that length.
But he was laying on the ground with it. I mean, he wasn't even a threat.
Yeah. And so it goes 2 knives, threatening move towards officers with the dog. Boyd had an extensive criminal past and mentioned killing the police earlier during the encounter. Boy, facts are coming out that I don't remember hearing back then. Bernalillo County District Attorney Carrie Brandenburg filed paperwork Monday charging former Albuquerque Police Department detectives Keith Sandy and APD SWAT team member Dominic Perez with one open count of murder each in the March 2014 shooting death of Boyd. Sandy and Perez will face a preliminary hearing before a judge who will decide whether there is enough evidence to proceed with the charges. Brandenburg office said in an email release, no date has been set for the court hearing, the Albuquerque Journal reported. So they haven't been charged yet. They're just still looking to see if they should be charged, according to that.
Grand jury?
No, it says a judge is determining. It didn't even... Oh, wait. Yeah, it is grand jury. I'm sorry. Yeah. Brandenburg filed the charges via criminal information papers, allowing her to charge the officers without presenting evidence to a grand jury. Grand juries have declined to indict law enforcement agents in several high-profile officer-related shooting deaths over the last several months, including in the cases of Brown and Garner, leading to widespread protests across the country. Lawyers for the 2 men argued that they will both be cleared of wrongdoing. Sandy had not only the right, but the duty to defend a fellow officer from a mentally unstable, violent man wielding 2 knives. Keith did nothing wrong, his attorney said in a statement. To the contrary, he followed his training and probably saved his fellow officers' lives.
The man was not threatening anyone. He was laying on the ground.
Yeah, and the officers were all way far away from him.
And there was a gang of them.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like it was one cop, one-on-one. There was like 10 to 1. And this dude was laying on the ground.
Mm-hmm. And they were at least 10, 15 feet away from him, down the hill, looking up at him. Yeah, this is... I don't know. I have a feeling this is not going to come out.
Did you hear the attorneys are not even pretty certain. They're certain their clients are going to come out as innocent.
Well, of course. Isn't that the scenario always? Why wouldn't they think that? So, and it's kind of trippy that the prosecutors not going through the grand jury.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it said they filed criminal charge papers allowing the officers without presenting evidence to a grand jury. Because grand juries have been, that aren't in very good standing right now after the other 2 cases that they...
yeah.
Good. Yeah.
The other 2 manufactured verdicts.
Mm-hmm. Right. Like, I don't know, they looked at the same video we did, and there was no question on Garner. Yeah, that's just... Anyway, the APD has been under fire since the Boyd shooting. Less than a week after the homeless man's death, the department released video footage taken from the helmet cam of an officer on the scene of the crime that shows a cop opening fire on Boyd while his back was turned. He was the first of 3 shooting deaths involving the department in 5 weeks. On March 25th, the APD shot and killed another man, Alfred Redwine, following an armed standoff 3 weeks later, Albuquerque police shot and killed Mary Hawkins, who was suspected of stealing a truck. Wow, I didn't know they had that many in just a few weeks. The U.S. Department of Justice conducted a 16-month review into the police department in New Mexico's largest city and recommended a systematic change in the final document. The early April report found that the APD had fallen into a pattern of using force more than often than necessary, which consequently caused a number of unjustified fatal shootings by officers in recent years. APD has been involved in more than 40 shootings since 2010, resulting in 27 deaths, the Journal reported.
And how much in lawsuit damage?
Oh, right. And, I was trying to get a number of people that have been shot by police, and the way they determine them and count them is you'll never get a real counting, because they only count if someone has died in the process of a crime, or if the cop shot, if it's a felony. Now, if they shot him and killed him and it would involve a misdemeanor, they don't count it as a police shooting. And if an innocent person gets shot or a bystander, they don't count that. They only count felonies and when there's a crime involved shootings, when they get their totals.
Mm-hmm.
So, you'll never get a true count. And then it's voluntary. They don't have to send any numbers at all if they don't want to. I'm sure Albuquerque didn't want to.
Yeah.
But there is a website now, a Facebook page where they're keeping records of it. I just discovered that a couple of days ago.
Mm.
And so you can go on Facebook and put police shootings of citizens, I think, or something like that. And it should bring it up. And it's where people are, if there's been a cop shooting in your area, you send it, you post it there. So maybe we will eventually get a true counting.
Mm.
It'll be scary, I'm sure.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There was a story that came out about New York yesterday as well. And this isn't shooting, but we still had a killing with strangling. NYPD chokehold review finds weak punishment for offending officers. Now, I'm trying to remember, back when that first happened, the Eric Garner story, I had done some research into the chokehold, and it was banned from the 70s, I believe, or maybe the 80s, but...
not illegal, just banned.
Well, it was banned by the police, yeah, as a practice. In a new review, the New York City Police Inspector General found that officers were quick to use banned chokeholds and were rarely punished in accordance with suggestions offered by the Civilian Complaint Review Board, a police watchdog agency. The new NYPD Inspector General reviewed 10 cases from 2009 through 2014 in which officers used a chokehold, a banned italic chokehold. And in those cases in which the Civilian Complaint Review Board recommended a substantive penalty, such as suspension or termination, then Commissioner Ray Kelly balked, opting for the officers to simply review the rules. How nice is that?
So, in other words, continue on it.
Right. It's only banned on paper. Mm-hmm. And oops, if you make an oops, we'll forgive you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and that's what their defense was, too. I remember them reporting the next day. It's not illegal. It's just not suggested, is the wording he used, to use that.
Well, it's not practice, is what it isn't.
Well, it's not supposed to be.
Right. Quote, we really don't know why the police commissioner came out with a different result, a lesser result than the Civilian Complaint Review Board recommended, said NYPD Inspector General Philip Ewer. That sort of thing undermines confidence. Well, yeah, it's like having a kid going, don't do that, but then the second you turn your head, the kid's doing it, and then when you catch him, you don't do anything about it.
Right.
You end up with a discipline problem, is what happens. The city's Department of Investigation is recommending that police officials should do more to record how officers are found to have used chokeholds and how they are punished. The report also suggests more information sharing between the NYPD and the CCRB, that is the acronym for the Civilian Complaint Review Board, as well as more cooperation between the two entities regarding what is considered an improper use of force. You think, after everything that's gone on, now let's have some reviews.
And nothing will come of it again.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that, but New York has not had a good track record recently. This report also found that officers were quick to use the illegal tactic, which has gained heightened awareness since unarmed Eric Garner was killed by Daniel Pantaleo in July for allegedly selling illegal cigarettes, which he wasn't, by the way.
He wasn't, right. I know, and every news report says that, and that's not true.
We thought it was true until I found that video from Time where they interviewed the kid that was with him that recorded the whole thing, and it actually was Garner breaking up a street fight, is what the kid said. And
the reason the police were called there was because of the street fight, but when they got there, he had already broke it up.
Right, and when they got there, they saw him there, and he had been busted by them before for selling untaxed cigarettes, but he wasn't that day in particular.
Right.
Nor did he have any on him.
Yep. But that gets me, every news report I have heard, every single one continually says that he was selling individual cigarettes that day.
Yeah, no, not in any of the footage that I saw. And
no.
And not in the interview with his friend either. The city's medical examiner said Garner died from, quote, the compression of his chest and prone positioning during physical restraint by police, unquote. Several of the officers in the 10 cases reviewed used chokehold. Oh, I gotta say. Sorry, I didn't want to sneeze in the mic. Thank you. Several of the subject officers in the 10 cases reviews used chokeholds, quote, as a first act of physical force in response to a mere verbal confrontation is particularly alarming, the report said. Last month, the Staten Island grand jury chose not to indict Pantaleo, sparking new rounds of anti-police brutality and anti-profiling protests in New York and across the nation. The NYPD says that it has banned, quote, any pressure on the throat or windpipe, which may prevent or hinder breathing or reduce the intake of air. Yet, as the report showed, the department has avoided enforcement of the rule in certain instances. The Inspector General promised future investigations into a statistically significant number of allegations of improper force of use by officers. This is not a report being issued by an advocacy group or by any that is on a particular side of the issue. It is a report issued by a law enforcement agency that is independent of both the police and all of the other stakeholders, said Department of Investigation Commissioner Mark Peters. The report was the NYPD's Inspector General's first since the position was created via a court order over the city's stop and frisk program that was deemed by a federal judge to be systematically racist policing strategy and violating constitutional rights. Wow. So I didn't know about this position being created over the stop and frisk. They kept that pretty quiet, didn't they?
Yeah, and they're continuing to stop and frisk.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. I haven't seen any stories in New York about them continuing to stop and frisk. Have you?
Yeah, I have. Not that long ago, too. I mean, I believe, I'm almost sure that some judge said it wasn't against the Constitution to do that, but I don't know that part about
they
free to
did.
travel.
No, they ruled that it was absolutely unconstitutional in New York City, and they had to cease and desist immediately.
Oh, okay.
Bill, that former police chief was doing it to everybody, stopping and frisk, and they had all been claiming that was against their Fourth Amendment rights. Yeah, it absolutely is, and the judge upheld that.
Oh, okay.
But what this is saying is that they hired this new oversight position because of that ruling. This, what was this title again? Hold on, I was trying to find it. Some sort of New York City Police Inspector General.
There you go.
Yeah, but like I said, that's the first I've heard of that position. But that was, he supposedly was hired as an oversight to the NYPD after stop and frisk was ruled unconstitutional.
Interesting. Well, I've seen another thing about what's going on in New York is all these, they're being threatened that if they don't start arresting people for for minor offenses and stuff, that they're going to lose their vacation pay. Because, they haven't been arresting people. I mean, traffic tickets has gone down something like 90% in New York City. So, because of de Blasio, is that his name?
De Blasio.
Blasio, yeah. The police rebelling against him for, saying that they have been doing wrong. So anyway, it's interesting, but they're going to lose their vacation pay if they don't start arresting people and giving out tickets. So that just proves that it's a money organization.
Well, the reason why this whole situation with the police versus de Blasio all happened is because de Blasio had balls to come out and say that, yeah, he warns his kid to be careful around police as well.
Right.
He taught his kid, his kid is mixed, his wife is black, and he told his kid that he's got to have etiquette when he's around police, otherwise he's going to find himself dead. And he mentioned that in an interview, and the cops went ballistic. Now, I don't know, I mean, the politicians in New York, most of them have really annoyed me. So I'm not going to give de Blasio any type of carte blanche anything. But the fact that de Blasio came out and actually told the truth for once, you know what I mean? And it really laid it on the line that this is the way the truth is in New York, that he's even worried about his own kid getting popped by the cops. That illustrates that there's a problem.
No kidding,
And the cops are pissed off about that. Well, maybe, and that's why that does piss me off, that they decided that they were going to turn their backs and be extremely disrespectful, is the fact that, why? Because he called out their bullshit?
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you tell the truth in politics.
The mayor himself of New York is scared for his son's life around cops. What does that tell you?
Right. He says, I have to explain to my child like most people don't have to. I understand where the people are coming from, and that the police department, and then they rebelled by not giving out traffic citations or they're not going on certain calls, and they're not, arresting people for not really crimes, but these small petty things. And
victimless.
Yeah, victimless. Yeah. And you know what? New York seems to be functioning just fine without them doing all this. So.
NYPD cops told no vacations until work slowdown ends. It is a slowdown showdown. This is according to the New York Post, which, of course, is trying to capture your interest when you're running for the subway to work in the morning. As precincts across the city, top brass are cracking down on summons activity and even barring many cops from taking vacation and sick days. The Post has learned throughout the city, precincts are being ordered to hand up to the borough commanders activity sheets indicating the numbers of arrests and summonses per shift. Police officers around the city are now threatened with transfers, no vacation time, or sick time unless they write some summonses. This is the same practice that caused officers to be labeled racist and abusers of power. At least one precinct, the brass backlash, which comes in the wake of Police Commissioner Bill Bratton ordering cops back on the job. After the Post reported a 90% drop in ticket writing. Is downright draconian. Everyone here is under orders, no time off during the summons catch-up blitz, said the one cop at the 105th precinct, and the majority of new summonses written are not protecting the public in any way, but now they're realizing how much revenue the city is losing and they're enforcing their will upon us. Well, you know what I was saying last night? Of course, because I did that story on the bean counters, if you remember, around Christmas time, and the bean counters coming down and plotting all of the complaints against the New York Police Department for potential lawsuits filed. And it's a large sum of money. So guess what? If you're not bringing in revenue, I don't know where they're going to get that money from to pay for all your lawsuits.
Yeah.
The taxpayers. But the bean counters are watching now, and they're not going to just be handing you $10 million to pay for another lawsuit that's out there. And don't think that there aren't a few more. You know, don't forget that one. We haven't seen that grand jury yet for the rookie that killed that guy in the stairwell who was just going home late at night. He was on his way home in the apartment complex. That grand jury is coming up here soon. So that'll be a third one. That'll be another one in New York.
Yeah, and like I said, New York seems to be functioning fine without that 90% tickets given out and non-victimless crimes, you know. It's amazing. The police department, all they do really, it seems like, is cause problems. Really. Because things, you know, you can have a domestic dispute and things don't get violent and bad usually till the police get there.
Yeah, and then they kill your girlfriend.
Yeah. Or you as you're leaving your girlfriend's house in a stairwell that they were not supposed to be in that case. They were told not to go in, not to enter the building.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But about that case when they killed the kid in the stairwell. I forget why they were there, but they were told not to enter the buildings. They were supposed to be patrolling outside, and for some reason they went up that stairwell.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, but so it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I wouldn't want to be driving in New York because they're going to be giving out tickets like crazy.
Yeah, right now it's going to be pretty nuts. On the flip side of all this, though, Pennsylvania did something pretty insane. Pennsylvania town abolishes gun laws to avoid lawsuits. Now there's a way around that. Wow, go Pennsylvania. A new state law which makes it easier for gun rights groups to fight firearms measures has divided Pennsylvania communities, with nearly 24 municipalities ready to abolish gun control ordinances rather than to be dragged into court. Is that not nuts? I was like, wow, we better figure out where these Pennsylvania communities are. An attorney for 4 pro-gun groups and several residents, Joshua Prince, has blamed the new law for putting nearly 100 Pennsylvania municipalities on notice that they will face legal action unless they cancel their firearm laws, AP reported. According to Prince, at least 22 of those municipalities have already either abolished them or plan to do so. Pennsylvania, known for its tradition of hunting and gun ownership, has long forbidden its municipalities from enforcing firearm ordinances regulating ownership, possession, transfer, or transportation of guns or ammunition. I'm going to tell you what, that's exactly, I don't know about the forbidding, but at least the long tradition of hunting and gun ownership in New York, that's what it was like here. I mean, New York and Pennsylvania, once you get down out of northern New York, where, you know, along the thruway where your cities are, and you start heading south, you can't really tell much of a difference as you cross the line between New York and Pennsylvania. It's all hills and trees. You know, that's what it is. Wait, I'm going to finish reading this.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was wondering, the transporting of guns. Well, how do you go hunting? How do you get your gun there if you can't transport it?
It doesn't say that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misheard it then.
Pennsylvania, known for its tradition of hunting and gun ownership, has long forbidden its municipalities from enforcing firearm ordinances regulating the ownership, possession, transfer, or transportation of guns or ammunition. So I'm reading that as some sort of, whether or not they're regulating like concealed carry or whatever. They're not saying you can't transport. They're saying enforcing their ordinances in regards to.
Okay.
Gun rights groups complain that a number of municipalities neglected the 40-year-old prohibition by passing their own gun measures. Under the new state law, gun owners no longer have to prove that they have been harmed by the local measure to successfully challenge it. So organizations like the National Rifle Association can sue on behalf of any Pennsylvania member, while the challenger can seek damages as well. At least one other state, Florida, is also allowing members to file suits over local gun regulations. Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Lancaster have sued to annul the Pennsylvania laws, alleging the legislation was passed improperly. Hey, that's what New York did, and we lost. Officials say, meanwhile, the city could ill afford a legal fight. Is that a spider? Oh my god.
Oh no.
Oh baby. Where did you go, you little fucker?
No, a spider has entered the room.
No, it's one of those little ones though, and he's dropping. Hopefully it's not hatch time.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's too cold though. I don't know why a baby spider would be hatching right now. And you see him coming down like 10 feet from my face on a web. All right. Well, remember, the office is the garage. I just pretend it's an office. It says Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Lancaster have sued to annul the Pennsylvania law, alleging the legislation was passed improperly. Officials say, meanwhile, the city could ill afford a legal fight. Quote, we get ourselves into trouble in terms of trying to circumvent a state law. AP quoted Councilman Jeff Waltman is saying, we're not going to solve this with local gun laws anyway. Harrisburg, the capital city of Pennsylvania, wants to defend its ordinances, maintaining that they comply with state law. The measure bans gunfire anywhere in the city and possessing firearms in city parks. There is also a requirement to report lost or stolen weapons. According to Mayor Eric Pappenfuse, Harrisburg's laws are aimed at fighting gun violence. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with banning gunfire in the city. Do you?
Well, no, and I mean that.
Or firearms in a park. I mean, unless, like, if there's a state park and it was designated as allowing hunting, which I have seen, like here, one of the Genesee County parks down near Batavia, I noticed. Or no, was it Letchworth? Was it Letchworth? Actually, it was Letchworth State Park, which is down in central New York. There were signs saying that they were allowing hunting, and it was during hunting season that we were down there. I was like, oh, I don't know if I like that. When did they allow hunting in state parks?
Yeah. I mean, up here, we usually stay out of the woods when it's deer season because there's a bunch of drunk cowboys out there shooting off guns.
But you'd think in a state of, like, New York where, they snuck out from under the bed while everyone was sleeping and stole everybody's guns, that they wouldn't allow hunting in a state park. Right? Nanny state. Why would you let people shoot guns in a state park if the state bans them?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
I mean, they do allow it on state lands. There's lots of lands for deer management and that. But still, it made me very nervous. We were going hiking, and it made me very nervous that they had allowed hunting in the park. I hadn't seen that. Some local laws say Some say local laws have violated gun owners' rights in Pennsylvania without making people any safer. I think all of us are pleased. It is a good start. The communities are starting to take a look at this, said Kim Stolfer, the founder of Firearm Owners Against Crime. So I guess we're going to see what happens here. It's pretty interesting. I wonder why they wouldn't allow New York residents to do this. Why? Oh, what? Because the communities didn't pass laws. It was the state that swept in the middle of the night and made illegal legislation that no one got to comment on. There was no comment period, and passed the SAFE Act in the middle of the night like cowards.
Mm-hmm.
Without any public feedback.
And no debate.
And, well, right, there was no debate whatsoever.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't think it should be allowed in state parks. I mean, there's campers, there's hikers, too many, you know. I mean,
well, right, in the fall, here's the thing. This is why I thought it was kind of dumb, because just because it's not summer anymore, it does not mean that your state parks aren't being utilized. And that's when a lot of people go to the state parks, to go see the fall foliage, duh, right?
Mm-hmm, right.
And you're right, the hikers, the campers, they have cabins. There's a whole cabin area right there, so people stay. Yeah. I wasn't too crazy about that, and we had all the kids, too. There's a big group of us that we try to do it at least once a year, and we've been kind of neglectful the last few as life gets in the way, but we all got together again this year and had all the kids, which are all getting big now, together, and we did a big day-long thing with the barbecue, and it was freezing, just like it always is in October, but it was fun. Everyone was just all nice and woolly, and there was a pavilion and lots of trees, and we hiked, and that kept us warm, but... yeah, I did not. And I didn't hear any gunfire when we were there, but there were signs all over warning of it.
Well, if people respect, if people really want to keep their gun rights, they need to start respecting the gun. And they're not going out in the woods. Like here, when it's deer season, all the guys get together, they go out, they drink, they shoot off the guns, and a lot of people, innocent people, get shot. It just happens every year. And, alcohol and guns don't mix.
No, they don't.
So,
but, I think that's pretty much a hunting tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Is to go out and drink lots and then go shooting the next morning with very little sleep at 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm. Or shooting during the night when they're all drinking and stuff. I don't know how many deaths have happened here that due to that. If you're smart, you don't go in the woods.
Yeah, here they don't hunt at night. I guess they can, but
no, they don't hunt at night, but they're shooting off their guns around the campfire and showing off and stuff. And shit happens,
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always said alcohol and guns don't mix. They're incompatible. They always will be.
Well, yeah, alcohol and any type of dangerous anything. A microphone and a telephone can be dangerous with drinking. So can a pen. You start writing your true thoughts. You make some phone calls to someone you didn't quite like.
No.
Facebook can be dangerous. Actually, I thought there was a warning system that was supposed to be coming to Facebook. If you posted something like on a Friday after midnight or whatever, they were going to have a delay. I always thought that this was kind of funny because people have done, joke memes about this, but I thought that they were talking about actually launching something like that. So after certain hours, it's going to say, "Are you sure you really want to post this?" For the drunk posters on the weekends.
It's like, oh yeah, your ex-boyfriend wants you to call him in the middle of the night when you're drinking and drunk. And then you wake up the next morning and go, oh God, what did I do?
Right.
Yeah, I think that would be a good thing, a delay.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Have you been drinking?
Are you sure you don't want to rethink this?
You want to read this over or send it to a friend for editing?
I think it's a great idea. Especially since now your comments can get you put in jail.
Yeah. Hey, I was just told that Hedbo. I haven't talked about any of this, and I don't really care. I mean, it's just such a big agenda, and it makes me so damn tired. And just all the stupid shit. Now everyone's picking apart again another incident, trying to prove it's a false flag. I mean, do you really have to prove anything? Right. It doesn't matter. Like I said before, it does not matter if it's real or not. It doesn't, because the end result is going to be the same.
The same, right?
So why does it matter? People obsess. I think they have OCD. I think it's like feeds their OCD. And hey, I'm not going to say I don't get a good dose of OCD at times. I mean, my family could rip their hair out if I get a bug up my ass and I decide to get on a cleaning binge. You know what I mean? And then I get in that psychopathic cleaning binge.
Yep. I know it well. My roommate.
Yeah, I mean, it's like something triggers my OCD and it makes me just stay out of my way.
My roommate goes in a room and closes the door and doesn't come out until I'm done.
What? Oh, your roommate?
Yeah.
But anyway, it doesn't matter the reasoning behind why it's happening. I mean, we've seen 10,000 cases throughout history. I don't know, I just exaggerated a number, but lots and lots of cases throughout history where it was proven after the fact that, yes, it was orchestrated and somehow our CIA had something to do with it.
But the end result was always the same, whether it was real or not.
They advanced their agenda. It always works. And I mean, here's the thing. So does it really matter if it was real or if it wasn't? I'm going to say, to be honest, that it could have very possibly been real. Don't you think that we've stirred up enough radicals?
Yeah,
they all hate us. And, you know, the fact that you're thumbing your nose at Mohammed and you know exactly what kind of response that elicits, and then you go, oh, shit, when it elicits that response, I don't know. You know, and I have family members who wrote for comedy papers here in the United States, you know, writing commentary about this out there in the interwebs about how, you know, what kind of a world is this when we can't be comedians? Well, you should use a little bit of discernment when it comes to extremist radicals, especially when you're in a country that has eggshells already between the two groups, if you know what I mean.
Yes, exactly.
You know, I don't know. That's like going up to a bully and poking him in the chest 100 times, and then when he reaches out and he grabs you by the throat, you go, oh my God, he's going to beat me up.
Right, exactly.
I mean, you know, put on your thinking cap and be smart about things. You can very easily say things without saying things if you really feel the need to be comedic about something. You know, it just takes a little bit more intelligence than being outright in your face.
Exactly.
I was just told that, I haven't seen this yet, but Hebdo is back. So is that the magazine? Hebdo? I think that's the magazine in France. Hold on. Because if this is right, if this is true, I'm going to call them all dumbasses. And as the 10,000 police, now I thought I saw 80,000. But yesterday I saw 10,000 police were all released on the French streets, and oh yeah, it is.
Is it?
It's the magazine, the Hebdo, Charlie Hebdo. So he's telling me that they put Mohammed back on the cover. Their first publication. Wow. Yes, in a show of defiance, the surviving staff of Charlie Hebdo has placed a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad on its cover for the first issue since the terrorist attack at its offices last week. Oh,
Wow.
Now, I am all one for free speech, people. But if you just had 12 people in your offices slaughtered, would you poke the lion again?
It's like yelling fire in a theater.
I don't know if I'd have the balls to do that. I think that I'd be licking my wounds. Now, I could see this. They're like, well, we're not going to let them win. No, but they're fucking psychopaths. Do you get it? Mm-hmm. And, hey, you know what? Even if they're not real psychopaths, then there's some sort of pharmaceutical drugged up psychopath that they've wound up and pointed in your direction, you know?
Right.
After MK Ultra.
Wow.
Like I said, it doesn't matter if the attacks are real or not. So what? Now, what do they want? So you got 10,000 police on the street in France. They had door-to-door searches looking for that female that disappeared. Then I saw reports she was never even in France. So I don't know about that. Honestly, I haven't been following this as closely as the others because I'm just at the point. This is 2015. I've been watching this shit now. I just broke 4 years of watching this with a freaking magnifying glass. It is. It's over and over and over again. And quite frankly, I'm just fucking tired of it. I really don't give two shits. You know what? Instead of wasting my life paying attention to another bullshit story like this that we see is just aiding and abetting the march toward the global clampdown, I could take those 2 hours of my life and spend it with my kid. Mm-hmm. You know? So honestly, I really don't give two fucks about France. You want to know the honest truth. And no offense to anyone from France out there. I took 8 years of French, okay? France is okay. But, you know, the fact that they decide now that they're just going to go, pfft, and I mean, trust me, I know some of those obnoxious people who think they're being fucking funny and who, that's how they get their jollies, so they're going to, like, stick it in and twist the fork now. But do you think that's such a good idea, you juvenile 8-year-old mentally? I mean, seriously? To go put Mohammed on the cover again? And now let's see what happens. Don't come crying to me when the freaking UN starts dropping peacekeepers in there to battle in your streets next. And France gets trashed. What are you going to do then? What are you going to do when they decide that they're going to, you know, stand the Typhoid Mary in the middle of Paris?
Right.
Because you are invalids. No, not invalids.
Imbeciles.
No, infidels!
Infidels, there you go.
Infidel.
I kill you!
I kill you! They're right, well, because Muhammad was put on the cover not once but twice.
Oh,
you know, I just use some common sense. But we won't be put down. We will not be censored. That's what I saw all of the comedy writers that I know writing. And that's true, but hey, guess what? I censor myself every freaking day because the NSA is listening.
Right.
And they're recording it all.
And
so
you
that's
your front door.
Right. That's not fair. I don't want to be censored. But you know what? I put on a hat of common sense. Mm-hmm. So, you know?
Yeah, and then did you see Feinstein comes out with another one of those speeches? We have cells just waiting to be woke up here, you know, because of what happened in France is going to happen here, so we have to have more surveillance.
Uh-huh. Well, it's not just here. In France, they're going to start cracking down on everything like they did in Australia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's global, that's for sure.
One of the things that I know and I can tell you about people that I've known in the comedy industry, and, you know, this isn't for all of them, but at least some of the writers that I've known that write for well-known comedy publications tend to have this haughty belief that they're so damn smart. And by them writing satire, that makes them even more damn smart. And I have to tell you, to be honest, it really annoys the piss out of me. So if these people at this Charlie Hebdo are anything like the friends and family that I have that write comedy for other comedy publications, well, stop being so fucking into yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Stop thinking that you're so much fucking smarter than the average bear.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't know these people. But I just think, how dumb is that? Dumb.
People don't use their brains anymore.
Let's put it on the cover and then go
Mm-hmm.
and see what happens. And isn't Salman Rushdie on the run for the rest of his life for that?
Yes.
I mean, so what do you want to put a target on your family's back? I mean, that's all I'm saying. I mean, dumb. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? And you know what? It's not going to be just you and your family, but probably your extended family in the next 3 generations. Shit. I mean, I don't know how they go after people. So.
Yeah, don't cry about it later.
All right. New document reveals FBI's role in NSA surveillance program. What do you think of them apples?
FBI's role?
The FBI's role in the NSA surveillance program. What?
What?
Our acronyms got all mixed up. It's now a big alphabet soup.
Oh, jeez.
Documents provided by the FBI suggests that the FBI has played a part in the NSA's surveillance operation to a much greater extent than previously acknowledged.
So the truth comes out.
Freedom of Information Act request filed last year by the New York Times journalist Charlie Savage prompted the FBI to release a redacted version of an Inspector General report from September 2012 in which the Department of Justice's internal watchdog weighed in on the Bureau's use of a federal provision that permits the collection of foreign communications. It is no secret that the NSA relies greatly on the rule called Section 702, which comes from the amendments tacked onto the U.S. Foreign Intelligence Service Act of 2008, which is FISA, to collect internet and phone data from non-Americans reasonably believed to be located outside of the country. Right. That's what it said. But while they're doing that, they just dragnetted everyone else's data, and then, they kept it, but they weren't really listening to it.
Yeah, they weren't going to look at it.
And we just
store it away.
We just kept it, but... So according to Savage, the FBI has gradually become a significant player with regards to administering the sweeping up of signal intelligence as indicated by the Department of Justice Inspector General report published by the Times on Monday. The 231-page report. So, you know what? This stuff is coming so fast right now. And, I mean, I'm noticing just over the last 3 or 4 days, and, I mean, there had to be over 100 videos uploaded to Pigmine since last night. I can't keep up. I can't keep up with any of it. It is coming now, 2015, faster than I've ever seen it. How about you?
Yeah, I was trying...
I can't even keep my head around what stories are current anymore.
I know. I was watching Pigmine as I was getting up. I was watching the videos this morning trying to catch up, and I know what you mean. It's just crazy. They all start blending together.
Mm-hmm. And I think that we always say, well, how this is the same game plan they've pulled 100 times before. Maybe that is the strategy. Because when you first of all, it's proven, tried and true, that it works, that we fall for it and we're dumb, okay, over and over and over and over and over again, right? They set us up, they make us scared, and then there's an attack. Well, actually, wait, they set us up, there's an attack, then we're scared, then they pass new draconian laws. That's how it works every time, bang, bang, bang. And so it's proven, tried and true to work, but number two... I lost my train
We're
of thought.
bombarded with so much that we can't keep track of what's going on. Really.
Oh, it makes them all blend together.
Mm-hmm.
When it's the same repeat over and over again, then the details of each situation start to get fuzzy.
Yeah, they mold all into one.
Right, one big one that you're like, well, was that case? No. Was that case? No, well, I don't remember. Was that case? Absolutely. And when you're trying to explain it to someone or when you're trying to research it, it tends to lessen your credibility if you don't remember all the facts solidly. Right. It makes it more difficult to search. I don't know. I think that actually might be a tactic.
I think it is, definitely, when we're bombarded so heavy.
Well, I just know that 2015 has started off like right out of the gate. They whip those doors open, and they're running at supersonic speed. I mean, it's just bang, 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 bang. I mean, if I allowed myself to do news, I literally could sit here and just post news all day with all of the different things that are going on. Mm-hmm. I haven't even been able to find time to write because there's been so much going on, and then try to pick something.
Yeah, which issue do you take?
Right. I honestly, I haven't had time because I haven't been able to even keep up with posting the news, let alone writing my own. In the 231-page report, Savage noted it contains a single unredacted reference to PRISM, which we know all about PRISM.
Yeah.
The internet surveillance program used by the NSA to gather intelligence from major web firms, including Facebook, Yahoo, and Skype, which was revealed publicly for the first time in 2013 by a former government contractor, good old Eddie Snowden. Eddie, who probably is loving his Russian women right now. It also contains details confirming the U.S. spy agency has for more than 5 years shared its signals intelligence with law enforcement investigators within the FBI. Although much of the report has been blacked out ahead of being sent to the newspaper, it provides a thorough account nonetheless of the FBI's part in Signet collection that had previously been kept from public view. Yeah, I didn't really read a lot about Signet. I remember when that revelation came out, and again, that was another one, like one after the other, after the other, after the other, of all these surveillance programs that were capturing all this data, and after a while, you're like, yeah. It's another surveillance program. Oh, well.
Yeah, so what, they got 2 people listening to me instead of 1.
Yeah, or 12. Mm-hmm. I swear to God, when we used to get those Skype issues where we'd be in the middle of a call doing a show, and it literally would sound like somebody was driving on the expressway and they'd open the passenger window and then leave it open in the car as the background noise.
And you could hear it, yeah.
You literally could, and then it would turn off after a while. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was messed up. So anyway, Signet is another one of the many variable data collection programs. It provides a thorough accounting, nonetheless, of the FBI's part in Signet collection that had been previously kept from public view. Savage wrote this week that the DOJ's Office of the Inspector General, wow, we've been hearing that. See, now, we've been hearing this title of Inspector General multiple times today. Mm-hmm. One in regards to the Department of Justice, and one now, earlier, in regards to the NYPD as an oversight.
Right.
So I don't know. I might have to, if I wasn't so tired, I'd look it up right now. But again, I think all of this information overload is a tactic as well, because I'll tell you what, once it gets to the point where I can't handle the input anymore, I have to stop all input, which means that I can't handle the 30 people messaging me a day with all their problems. They can't get on air, or they can't be here today, or they need me to update their website, or they need me to fix a technical issue that they discovered in one little detail of a link posting. You know what I mean? Like, I just get to the point where I put my hands over my ears and I go sit in a corner and rock back and forth, because it pushes me to overload. And I wonder again, if that isn't intentional.
Of course
You know,
it is.
we can take a lot more than most people. Most of the American public is sitting there engulfed in their drooling, brain-dead television because it's all they can handle.
Right.
That's the version of reality that they can handle. Any of us who've been doing this for any length of time obviously can handle an uglier version of reality, but there comes a limit. There comes a limit when my brain just can't deal with it anymore. I need to disconnect. And that's what gets me. Like over Christmas, I really tried. And man, there were some people who just wouldn't leave me the fuck alone. And I'm going to tell you, when you're hitting me up the weekend after Christmas, and Christmas is on a Thursday this year, and you're just sending me message after message after message, and you're expecting me to fucking do work? I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And I didn't respond. And now they're wondering why I'm not responding. Well, you know why? Because I'm still recovering. Because then I got sick. And then I had massive power outages,
God, no
which, by the
kidding.
way, that's still coming. They were here yesterday marking the ground and trying to figure out where all the wires are running underground, and it's not looking good. It runs across the yards, across my neighbor's driveway, so we're going to have to dig up my neighbor's driveway. Now, I really hope that I'm not going to have to fucking pay for all that and then pay for my neighbor's driveway to be fixed.
I don't see how they can hold you accountable when that is their responsibility.
Well, I didn't even put in those high voltage underground power lines. So why should I had no control over how they put them in or who they hired or anything. How can I be responsible for when they break? That's bullshit. And I honestly, this might turn into a small claims court issue because I don't have a couple $1,000s to spend to dig up the fucking yards and run new high voltage underwire cabling.
Well, that's not your cable anyway. So how can it be your responsibility? It was
Well, they say it is. They said it's my cable. I didn't put the cable in, and I had nothing to do with it. If I had hired the electrician and hired some shitty electrician and bought cheap electrical cable that then shorted out, I could see that being my responsibility. Right. But I had nothing to do with the cable or when it was put in or who was put in by ever at all.
Put in before you moved in. You know,
years ago. And like 2 years ago, they dug up the entire street and they rewired the entire neighborhood at the street. So, hey, who's to say that something you did at the street didn't fuck up my cable?
Well, definitely.
Yeah, this is going to be a fight. So, on top of all the last month or so just being off the hook, now this whole electrical issue, and I'm sorry, but this is really pissing me off, and especially when it comes to spending money and when it comes to spending thousands of dollars. That starts to make me like, what was his name in Psycho?
Oh,
Anthony Perkins? No, that wasn't him.
No. Nicholson.
No, he wasn't in Psycho.
Oh, Psycho Perkins.
Anthony Perkins, yes.
Oh, yeah. No, I can see you as Nicholson when he went, "Here's Johnny."
Oh, The Shining, yeah. I mean, the thing is, the thing that pisses me off is I don't like, and this isn't just in this case, this is in any case, I don't like to be blamed for something that I didn't do or held responsible for something that I had no hand in. Okay? If I didn't have some say in the matter, see, I'm a control freak. And if I didn't have a say in the matter, and I try to be very careful. I try to dot my I's and cross my T's, and I think about things before I do them. Look before you leap, right? Put some intelligence on it. I just don't do things in an impulse. Except when I'm on the radio and I swear, but hey, it's my radio network, so.
Well, I don't see
plug your ears.
The farthest reach they can go that they can hold you responsible for something that you weren't involved in at all.
Because apparently a paper somewhere in the town charter states that homeowners are responsible for the wire from their house to the road. My dad said that he had to, I guess their next door neighbor quite a few years ago did some digging and must have nicked a cable, but it took a few years before they started to have electrical issues. And when they did start to have electrical issues, the electric company determined that it was on my parents' property. So instead of paying the electric company to go get someone with a backhoe to start digging it up, my father decided he was going to dig it up himself.
Oh, no.
But they made him pay for it. They made him pay for it. Now, that was because my neighbor did something, and I would have gone after my neighbor, honestly. But here, nobody did anything.
Right.
And you know what? My neighbor's got a nice big fat garden in the middle of their front yard. You know, I'll be very interested if it ends up being that garden out front.
Oh, if they hit a wire or some cable underneath.
Yeah. But what if it's a tree? What if it's a tree root that did damage?
Well, I don't understand that. Here from my house out is their responsibility, the power company and everything. I mean,
you would think from the meter, right?
Right, from
the meter out. Anything inside my house is absolutely my responsibility. And I've had electricians here. We actually, I was so concerned about the power when we first moved in, because the houses are from the 80s, that I actually had a guy come and we got a new panel box. And we got new breakers because they were old and sticky and whatever. You know what I mean? I did my due diligence. I made sure that all my ground fault was in the kitchens and the bathroom. I made sure that the house was properly grounded when they changed all the requirements with the rods into the ground. I made sure I got the new meter when they sent us the thing and they made us pay to buy our own fucking meter outside. Okay? I've done all that. I've done all of that. So now I pay all my taxes. And now I have an electrical issue outside my house, and it's going to be my responsibility to dig it up and pay for all the high high voltage cable underground.
And I don't know to do with putting that cable in.
That was none of my responsibility at all. No, so I'm really upset about that, and that's probably we're going to find out more this week. But I just know yesterday we were watching them map all across where the lines are running underground, and we were like, wow, that's a lot. Wow. This might not turn out too well, and I'm you know, and I'll be pleasant about it to their faces, but I'm definitely, if it comes down to it, and it's, I don't know, if it's a few $100s, I still might fight it because they left me without heat all night and a kid in the house and no phone number to call.
Yeah, that got me. No emergency number to call.
None. Nope. And when we asked the guy for his card, and it was the superintendent that was here, he gave us a card with the same phone number on it. It actually doesn't even have the second phone number that I had found, which was the actual shop. This just has the main number. Yep.
That's unreal.
So it is unreal. But, for a few $100s, I don't know. I guess I'll have to determine at that time whether or not it's worth the argument. But honestly, if it gets up there and it's like $300, $400, $500, $1,000, $2,000, I'm gonna go psycho.
Well, the principle
it's not gonna
of
be
it.
Pretty. It's not gonna.
Yeah.
Right. It is the principle of it. And you know what? Here's the other thing. People in my town should be questioning then. What the hell's this? Our power doesn't go out that often, but when it does, where's your fucking contingency plan in January when it's 4 degrees outside?
You can't call no one.
Right. There's here's the thing. I worked in corporate America for many years, and we did service on networks that we installed. You couldn't leave a network without a 24-hour service number.
Right.
And, hey, okay, so we didn't have anyone in the office. You know what we did? We bought an answering service. And you had an answering service, a call center that you hired that took your calls, tied to a 1-800 number or whatever. They would enter in the customer service call, name, address, phone number of the person calling, and then they paged the guy on call.
Right. There you go.
$39.99 a month. You can get Indian call center for you doing customer service. I don't see what the issue is. I don't understand why we don't have that. But that's
here at the front of every phone book is all the emergency numbers for the power company, for the water company, for all of them. You have an emergency number that just like 911.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, all right, I really got off the topic though.
Yeah, that's okay. It's bugged me. I was talking to my friend about it, and he just could not fathom that you're responsible from your meter out. I
don't see how that's possible.
I don't either. It's not your property. It's not your cable.
If that's the case, if the meter and everything's mine, then why did I get bitch slapped when I hired an electrician to come work on my breaker box and upgrade it? Why did I get bitch slapped when we called the town to get someone out here because the guy needed to get into the meter as he was working on the breaker box and nobody came, so he cut the freaking tag. They have the little lock on the box.
Lock.
He cut it to get in there because he was on the clock. And then when they get here, let them fix it. And they got pissed because it was their meter. Well, but I paid for it. And apparently, I own everything from my house to the street. So...
why would they get pissed?
I should be able to cut that lock, and there shouldn't even be a lock on my electric meter then, because I didn't put it there.
Right. Wow, that's crazy. But yeah, people should know about this because, this could happen to anybody.
Well, we'll see. I'm going to hold off judgment until we see how this whole thing plays out, but it's not looking pretty. They better do right. I am not. Absolutely, for the principle of it, I am not paying thousands of dollars for them to rip up. And if they got to rip up my neighbor's driveway, the one that the high voltage wire is wired to his house right now.
You know what I'm wondering is when they put their garden in there, because like when we had to replace some plumbing out front, we called the power company to come out and stake.
Always stake.
Yeah, they always come and stake.
Exactly.
So I'm wondering if your neighbor didn't, because it's not that far down.
No, I don't know. And they did. They just put that in a few years ago, and it's toward my property. It's toward the edge, the lower left quadrant of their property next to mine. It is actually in the main drag that goes from where my meter is at the edge of my house, right down in that right-of-way, or whatever they call it, the... like between the yards where the drainage is, it's kind of down.
Yeah.
That's exactly, it's down at the bottom right there, and it's right up next to close to the street.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad. And I know that they absolutely do not have money to afford anything like that. They got multiple kids, and, they'll
put that all on them if they accidentally hit on one of those, and then it, the rain, the moisture in the ground finally went in and shorted something out.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I guess we'll find out more. All right. Do I even read any more of this? This is really long, but just know that the FBI is in bed with the NSA. I don't know if we ever doubted that. All the acronyms are in one big alphabet soup orgy. It's all you need to know. Again, do the details really matter for every single surveillance program they dug up? No! Generalizations are just fine.
Yep.
Because it's the concept. It's not being OCD over it all. We're beyond that now. It's 2015. Back in the very beginning, when finally it was the justification that none of us were tinfoil hat wearing paranoids that like our friends thought for the last 15 years. They've been watching us. In the very beginning, yes, being OCD and pointing out every single case of where it was true and where you were right in the past was necessary.
But everyone already knows now.
And they know it now. It's out there and no one gives two shits anymore. So get over it. Don't waste your time.
That's why they do that. They repeat till people aren't listening anymore.
Well, not only that, but they're sucking up your time investigating things that really don't warrant any deeper investigation. Because what else are you going to find out? I think pretty much all you need to know. And again, like I said, whether or not it's real or imagined, they have acted and caused the appropriate reaction.
Yep.
Yeah, it's psychology, baby.
It's all psychology.
That's what they're doing.
Anymore.
It's a big global headfuck now, and we're falling for it.
Well, not all of us.
Yeah, not all of us. Here's the thing. I'll tell you what. Anyone who's thinking that it's an infringement of free speech to not be able to post Muhammad's cartoon again on the cover of the Charlie Hebdo paper, first publication coming back, I don't know. It's just kind of going through my head. Like, how dare those radicals say that we can't publish something in such a free world as this? But, I don't know.
That's a fine line.
It is a fine line. And when you're faced with a bully, like I said, sure, you don't want to let the bully win. But on the other hand, do you want to have your teeth knocked out? I tend to pick my battles.
Your life snuffed out. Really?
Right. I mean, I'd be putting myself into witness protection program
Yeah.
before I attempted anything like that again. I don't know. Or move themselves to an online format only with no offices or names of anyone anywhere, and everyone's moved that has involvement in the paper. Yeah, it just doesn't seem very smart. Here was a story that came out of, I think this is a New York TV channel that I subscribed to a while ago, and I think it was back when the Eric Garner thing happened. This Pix 11, but this kind of goes along the lines of things that used to talk about innocent people spending many years in prison. Hold on, I am going to turn off my ticker, my player, and I'm going to pull in my account.
J.
Yes, thank you. It starts
You're welcome.
But what's the letter 2? Oh, U. There we go. All right, and maybe while this is playing, it's 6 degrees. Oh, it's 7. It went up a degree.
Ooh.
It actually has been falling all night, but the last dribble of coffee in my cup is miserable.
Cold.
Yeah. So while this is playing, I'm going to go fill up. But here, we'll read this first. You know what? Here's the trick. I connect, and then I can disconnect. So then it's just a one-button connect. Wrongfully convicted man spends 21 years in prison and dies 11 months after being exonerated. Tell me if that is not so tragic.
That is sad.
21 years in prison and dies less than a year after being exonerated for not committing the crime. The life of Sharif Wilson was tragic on so many levels. A Harlem resident spent more than 20 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit, only to die less than a year after becoming a free man. My legs are getting really cold. They took him away, and then we just got him back, said Sharif's sister. Sharif's mother lost her son twice. They took him away when he was 15. Now he's gone forever. In the 11 months since DNA evidence freed him, Wilson was hospitalized 5 times with breathing problems and other health issues that his lawyer says started when he was wrongfully imprisoned. He went into prison as a healthy 15-year-old and came out a broken, bloated, and morbidly obese. Wilson spent 2 decades behind bars for the murder of... I'm trying to pronounce this name. Wilson spent 2 decades behind bars with Antonio Yarborough for the murders of Yarborough's mother and 2 children. Wilson confessed to police but later recanted, saying that the police had coerced him. Family members said upon his release he wanted to help start programs for others wrongfully convicted who were then freed. He always wanted to give back to the community, and I want to continue his legacy, said one of his sisters. And while the family is busy making funeral arrangements, his lawyer says that the system needs to change. In another tragic case, wrongfully convicted William Lopez died from an asthma attack last year after being exonerated in 2013. And just, how awful is that? Could you imagine being in jail for 21 years?
You didn't do it.
And you didn't do it.
And you know, they do that on, like, when there's something high profile. They'll get anyone in there because they have so much pressure to find the guilty one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
that's why I don't believe in the death penalty, because too many people are found innocent after they've been killed.
Yeah, and then you got a state like Texas who tried to... I think actually they may have legislated the fast track to the death penalty. That was last year they were looking to fast track, and I'm like, yeah, Texas should be doing that.
They already kill more than any other state.
One of the few states that still executes people. Mm-hmm. New York State, I mean, they all laugh of calling New York North Korea up here. But New York State doesn't have the death penalty anymore. They did when I was a kid. I don't believe that they have it anymore. I haven't seen anyone on death row here in a long, long time.
There's a lot of people on death row here, but they haven't been murdered, you know.
Yeah, I'll have to look, but I'm pretty certain that New York no longer has the death penalty. All right, here, let's play this video, and while it's playing,
Okay.
I'm going to go fill my cup up so we can kick off the last half hour of the show with some caffeine energy.
Okay.
I'm getting there. I'm almost there. Maybe, if this will play. It's just a black screen. Oh, here comes an ad. Na 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 na. But there is no volume. Na 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 na. And there is no volume control. Na 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 na. And it's a really long commercial. Da, 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 da.
I hate those. And then they play that same commercial
Here comes.
in between each one.
There's just no on. Oh, Jesus. Hold on. There would be audio if I connected Skype.
Okay.
All right. It's, remember, before
The first
cup. All right, here we go. Ready for Drico? Here we go.
Ready.
They took him away from us, and we finally got him back.
The life of 38-year-old Sharif Wilson is tragic on so many levels. The Harlem resident spent more than 20 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit, only to die less than a year after becoming a free man.
And for him to be away from us for 22 years, it took me a long time to really grasp that. And then when I did get him home, it's still like it's unbelievable that he loved us like this.
In the 11 months since DNA evidence freed him, Wilson was hospitalized 5 times with breathing problems and other health issues that his lawyer says started when he was wrongfully imprisoned.
He was a healthy young 15-year-old boy. And he came out a broken, morbidly obese individual whose health care wasn't really well monitored and maintained by the state prison authorities.
Wilson spent a total of 2 decades behind bars along with Antonio Yarborough for the murders of Yarborough's mother and 2 children. Wilson confessed to police but later recanted, saying police had coerced him. Family members said upon his release, Wilson wanted to help start programs for other wrongfully convicted men who are freed.
That's what kind of person he is. He wants to give back. And I'm going to make sure I do that for him.
And while the family of Sharif Wilson is busy making funeral arrangements, his lawyer says it's time for the justice system to change the way it treats exonerated people.
When somebody's exonerated, the state doesn't want to have anything to do with them. They are a black eye to the state, and the state just wants to walk away, and nothing happens.
In another tragic case, wrongfully convicted William Lopez died from an asthma attack last year after being exonerated in 2013. From the Bronx, McGee Hickey, Pix 11 News.
There's just
bad.
so many that, you have to wonder how many innocent people that did not, that were framed or forced confessions out of them, especially young people. They take you out of your environment, put you in a strange place, and then interrogate you and keep it up to where, I don't know, we can't even imagine how many innocent people are spending their lives in prison.
Well, exactly. I was just actually watching, there was an Al Jazeera documentary that I found a couple slices, and I wish I could get all of it. But I've seen that there's actually a lot of them out there about the school-to-prison pipeline. That, people have talked about it, but I guess I never really saw, how echoingly true it is. And it literally is just setting your kids up to go from one controlled establishment to the next.
Exactly, it is. And the prison industry has a lot to do with it because their prime employment ages is 18 to 35. That is the age group they want in their prisons to work for them. And it does. It has a lot to do with how many young people are put in prison.
Well, there's all kinds of money there.
Mm-hmm. More every year. Every year it goes up. And what gets me mostly is, how a company projects what they're going to make next year, how their profits are going. Every year it's higher. So what does that mean? They have to arrest more people.
Uh-huh.
And it's a vicious cycle. Most people don't even think of that aspect of it.
Well, there were contracts that were inked with the private companies that are running the prisons to say that they had to have, they guaranteed them like some 90-some-odd% occupancy rate, which is ridiculous.
Yep, and almost all of them are 90 to 95% occupancy. Mm-hmm. So they have to fill them, or they get paid. They get penalized. Well, I mean, how crazy is that?
And they probably have to pay some sort of penalty fee if they don't have the certain occupancy rate.
They do. Yeah, it's in their contract. You know, so police are, you know, like New York, I'm sure that their prison industry is having a fit because the beds aren't being filled. It's the prison industry is like the military industrial. They're both just so corrupt all the way through, from the top to the very bottom, and well hidden from the people in plain sight.
Right.
I don't know. It saddens me to think how many young people's lives have been completely taken away from them through this prison industry.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, I really don't want to get on this because, I mean, there's no story that you have in hand that you're talking statistics. You're just talking generalities, and everybody knows the generalities. But, you know, it absolutely ruins lives. It puts your kids, you know, into the system, gets them into juvie, and then they just continue on into jail. And how good is that? What kind of a future is that going to be? It's going to be subservient future where we're all prisoners, you know?
Just about.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, okay.
I saw yesterday that CENTCOM's website, and then I caught a clip that said their website and their YouTube got hacked yesterday. I don't know if you saw that, but it was right during Obama announcing that we were going to be holding a cyber summit. Now, come on.
Oh, God.
Come on.
Same scenario over and over and over.
We're also going to host a summit to fight violent extremism. Did you see that one?
So, no, I mean,
yeah, we're stepping right into the big pile of dog shit. Yep. How, as the church lady would say, how convenient. In the wake of terror attacks in France and elsewhere, Australia. Which came first, chicken or the egg? Remember, Australia is a testbed for many, many, many globalist trials.
You know it is.
The Obama administration announced Sunday that it will host a Countering Violent Extremism Summit next month. February 18th, the event will highlight domestic and international efforts to prevent violent extremists and their supporters from radicalizing, recruiting, or inspiring individuals or groups in the United States and abroad to commit acts of violence, said the White House spokesman John Earnest. Now, question. How are we going to determine whether or not an individual has inspired other individuals? You know, inspiration is sporadic. And today something inspires me, tomorrow it bores me, and I need a new inspiration. Mm-hmm. So wouldn't the designation of an inspiration for an event be kind of subjective?
Yeah.
Like, how are law enforcement officials going to determine who inspired what to do who? Or who inspired who to do what?
I have no clue. That is beyond stupidity.
Officials from the United States and other countries will participate. Ernest said anti-extremism efforts are, quote, even more imperative, unquote, in light of the recent terror attacks. Oh, yes, we forgot about another one. We forgot about the terror attack that came first in Ottawa. Ottawa, Canada. Remember that? A lot of people missed that one. He shot the place up and they killed him quick. And Sydney, as well as last week's mass shooting at the satirical magazine in Paris. Yes, yes, yes. The White House announced the summit at the same time as a massive counter-terrorism rally in Paris that drew numbers of world leaders. Yes, of course it did, including... Hold on. We didn't even do our noisemaker for New Year.
Oh, my God.
Criminal Attorney General Eric Holder was there.
That's right. Yeah.
He was in France.
Yeah. And he didn't attend. Did you see that?
No, I didn't, because this says that he was. This says that he did attend.
Oh, I seen an article that said he was there, but he wasn't there at the march where, you know, you seen him arm in arm there, all the big officials. And it said it was missing in the article I caught this morning.
I don't know. We'll have to look. Yeah, this one says that he's there. The Attorney General and the Ambassador actually were representing the United States in Paris. I don't want him to be representing me. No. How about you?
No, please.
Especially since it's his department that now the United States is being questioned over, you know, the torture report.
Yeah.
You know, the police departments. I mean, they all fall under the Department of Justice ultimately, do they not?
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that we've had all these civil rights violations left, right, and center, and he's the chief honcho, he's also the one that isn't releasing any of his emails in regards to Fast and Furious. Again, law of the land. So criminal in charge, Attorney General Eric Holder, then appears in France as representing the United States. I'm beyond words. Honestly. I mean, why is Eric Holder planning on running for president next?
God.
Why, or Secretary of State? Why the hell is criminal Attorney General Eric Holder standing with world leaders in Paris representing the United States? Is that even legal?
Well, I mean, he's already resigned.
I thought so. Way back when. And he's just still hanging on. I don't know even why he's still there. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
I always
thought that when you resigned, that meant you were leaving the position.
Maybe he had to hand off some secret plans for world domination or something.
Or how to be a good criminal.
Yes, how to be a good criminal. He had to go give some education.
Yeah,
The administration said that its strategy includes confronting the threat of extremism within individual neighborhoods. Do you hear that?
Yeah.
Do you hear that?
Yeah.
With the help of social services providers, educators, mental health professionals, religious leaders, and law enforcement agencies. What?
That's scary.
We're going to read that again. The administration said that its strategy, and this is the strategy combating extremism, and this is its strategy within the United States. The administration says that its strategy includes confronting the threat of extremism within individual neighborhoods. So spy on your neighbor, 1-800-I'm-nosy.
Snitch. Yeah.
With the help of social services providers. So as more and more people end up needing social services because there are no jobs and the food's too expensive, and they have to go in and be subjected to endless questionnaires to qualify them for getting social services assistance.
Mm-hmm. Giving blood.
You're being profiled.
Yep.
Educators, because the teacher said so. He was a problem child and he asked too many questions. He didn't like to follow directions.
Well, aren't the teachers more or less deciding what kids get put on psychotropic drugs because they're not sitting still?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, you could say that, but I doubt it officially. No, they're not doctors, so they couldn't. But I'm sure that they're recommending, especially in a problem child, to the school psychologist.
Right.
That the child, they believe, with their professional opinion, because they've been teaching for years, that the kid has an attention deficit disorder and may need to be seen by some sort of psychiatrist and be prescribed some medication because that would fix their behavior, huh?
Because they may be questioned what the teacher was saying.
Right. I probably would be considered as having some sort of
sure you would.
Attention deficit disorder. But you know what? I'm telling you, I think technology has made us this way. You know, when I was a kid, I didn't bounce off the walls and my brain didn't, do 32 things at once. That came with a lot of practice and a lot of input from outside stimuli. Mm-hmm. I mean, once we got email and the web, and I did call center support for a long time, and you had to find information at the drop of a hat as you had queues of 100 people waiting to talk to you, to ask you questions, to bitch that their shit didn't work, and I need you to fix it now. It's taken me 20 years to get to the point where now, I can...
Instant gratification.
No, it wasn't instant gratification. No? It's groomed ADHD. We all have ADHD. The inability to pay attention for long periods of time on one topic. A lot of that first started in my classes on the concepts of adult learning back from when I was a technical trainer. A lot of our attention problem, they had blamed on the length of time between commercials on television. That's where it all started.
Yeah.
They could keep our attention for about 7 minutes, I believe it was, or 8 minutes. But that time has now been reduced with the advent of the internet and the smartphone. And, there are just so many different inputs of information now that we deal with on a daily basis, 24/7. That you honestly don't have the capability of paying attention anymore to anything for a long period of time. Do you know how difficult it is to do research? Do you know how difficult it is for me to write a story, even if it's only 5 paragraphs? And you want to know why? It's not because I can't concentrate. It's because I'm interrupted 150 times in that hour by every other input of information that's coming at me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I want to finish reading this. So the administration says the strategy includes confronting the threat of extremism within individual neighborhoods. So this is Obama talking about, so what, are we going to have the Stasi program where we can report your neighbor for free and get a free turkey?
Oh, yeah,
Social services providers, so if you report 10% of the people applying, we'll give you more social services tax money. Educators, maybe you'll get an extra sick day, teacher. Make sure you find us a couple more to feed to the system. Mental health professionals who are going to be the last word on deciding whether or not you can own a firearm, and who knows what it is tomorrow. Maybe they'll be deciding that you can't own a pen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. As I'm talking, my screen goes black. That's weird.
Ooh.
Hold on. It's trying to refresh. And it's not getting very far. Wow, my whole screen went black. That was nice.
Wow.
Just black, like it ran out of memory. It right in that instant.
Somebody doesn't like what you're saying.
Well, weirdness, last night I was working down here and I went upstairs to go get a bottle of water and I came back down and in the 1 minute and 25 seconds that I was gone, my internet went down. I came back to no internet for about a half an hour, as a matter of fact. I was like, what are the chances that my internet is fine, hip-hopping away for weeks on end, except for when our power's out. And just out of the blue, in that 1 minute and 25 seconds, I walked upstairs to go get some water, and I came back down. My internet happened to go out.
And then it just came back after?
Well, after about a half an hour, yeah. I mean, the router rebooted, so I don't know if they had an outage or if they were doing testing or whatever, but it just seemed kind of odd that I sit out here for 14, 16 hours a day, and my internet's just fine most times. Unless, of course, we mention certain keywords.
Yeah.
But I walk away. Like, they knew instantly that I walk. I mean, how many times did it happen that I walk away and shit goes awry the second I walk away? The stream goes off air. I mean, are you kidding me? How can they do that every single time? I mean, that made me so paranoid that when I made certain that my camera was unplugged.
Well, that time your camera came on, that was really weird.
Yeah, not connected to anything, by the way. I mean, it was plugged in, but not being accessed by any application.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, that's...
I'm trying to get my screen back. I can't finish the story without it being in front of me. So, hold on here. All right, come on. Now, I got the browser back up, but it's just a big white rectangle.
Oh, I've had that happen.
And the other browser is a big black rectangle.
I haven't had that happen.
All right. Well, one of them came up. So what browser is this one? I could probably kill this window. Oh, yeah. I took a New York Times quiz the other day. It was 8 videos that were embedded on a page, and they had asked individuals a question, and they were asked to respond, and they were recorded via video. And then they embedded that video, and you were to watch each of those videos. And they were very short. They were probably less than a minute. But you were to watch each of those videos and then determine whether or not the person in the video was telling the truth. And underneath it, it had 2 buttons, whether they were telling the truth or lying. And I got 9 out of 10.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, I patted myself on the back for that one. I'll tell you what I hate most out of anything is a big fat liar.
Mm-hmm. Right,
I just can't stand it. I can't stand it. That's the reason why Obama gets me so pissed off, because that asshole convinced me to vote for him, and nobody before that day had ever deserved my vote. And he convinced me that he did until he got my vote. And then he is like a lying, cheating boyfriend.
Exactly.
Doing shit behind your back. I'm sorry, but that's exactly what it makes me feel like. He betrayed me.
He did.
Betrayal and lies are things that I will not tolerate. I'm cool to everybody. Just don't fuck me. Because once you do, I'm never going to trust you again. And you know what? I don't want to know you anymore. Get out of here. And that pisses me off. I can't even get back to it. My whole browser is hosed here. Maybe I have enough time to boot another computer so I can get my story back. Jesus, come on. What, did we say enough bad things about Muhammad or the
Eric,
criminal Attorney General, Eric Holder?
It is strange the timing of some of our computer problems.
Is this other computer going to come online now as I click and dink? It looks like it went to sleep. As it just woke up. Well, talk, Zorie, because I have nothing. I have nothing in front of me but a white screen and a black screen.
Oh, God. Okay, and I closed this one out. Okay.
Have you been watching the news? I mean, do you need a story?
Okay, okay, here it is. In South Carolina, a lawmaker wants mandatory NRA gun classes in schools. This is a positive in my book because I've always said that, ignorance is what kills. I think children should be taught about guns and know a real gun from a play gun, and less children would be killed. Says students in South Carolina could soon be studying material endorsed by the National Rifle Association if a state lawmaker can successfully push his proposal into law. Under a measure filed by South Carolina State Rep. Alan Clemens, the state curriculum would require students to take a 3-week class focused on the U.S. Constitution with a special focus on the Second Amendment rights to bear arms. During the class, high school students would learn about gun rights, gun safety, and if a companion bill also passes into law, potentially attending shooting ranges, there is already a petition to fight the proposal. Now, I think it should start way before high school.
Yeah.
I think, children should be taught at a very young age how dangerous guns can be and the difference between real.
Well, and safety. I mean, why would you not teach children gun safety?
Exactly. Teach a child, if they come across the gun, you go to an adult and tell them you do not touch the gun. These would save so many lives. I've been a firm believer in this all my life.
It's not just children, it's everybody. I don't think that you would have this ridiculousness of lefty crybaby stuff over firearms if everybody had used one, understood that guns don't fire themselves, right? Understand what keeps them hidden away, locked away, safe. Understand what it feels like to shoot one, so it's not the big bad boogeyman.
Right, and it's like with my daughter, she did not want to learn about the gun. She didn't like guns, and this is at 7. But I explained to her, I said, okay, if someone was hurting me and there was a gun there, would you want to know how to use it or would you want to just not? And she thought about it and realized that, yes, in that situation. And she did learn the difference. I would lay out guns, 3 of them, and 2 would be real, 1 would be a kid's gun, and make her pick. And then by 8, she learned how to shoot. With me supervising. And my daughter, I didn't worry about her going to another person's house, finding a gun and picking it up.
That's true. That's true.
It's very true. You might think your house is safe, but your kids go into other homes.
Well, right. And kids are out and about.
And
they're
curious.
I mean? Mm-hmm.
So I think it should be started in maybe 1st, 2nd grade. You start introducing them to it, and safety, most of all, and you wouldn't have these kids accidentally shooting each other when they find a gun.
Right. Or it's just accidentally shooting their parents or whatever.
Right, like that lady in that store, a week or 2 ago?
That was a little kid, though, that did it, and I don't know if there's any way you'd be able to teach, but, why would you put your purse with a loaded handgun in next to the child in a cart? I mean, that was just negligence.
Yeah, safety, and she's paid the price. But anyway, okay, on with this. It says, at the end of December, Clemens filed a Second Amendment education bill, which would designate December 15th as Second Amendment Awareness Day and require elementary, middle, and high schools to enter a poster or essay contest and study a curriculum supported with material from the NRA. The lawmakers want more emphasis placed on the Second Amendment and to focus on guns in order to demystify them. The discussion should be a scholarly discussion about the history of the Second Amendment. Why was it important to our fathers? Who was it? why was it so important that it was included in the Bill of Rights, and how the Second Amendment folds into modern society. The poster and essay contest would feature the theme, "The Right to Bear Arms, One American Right Protecting All Others." That sounds like they're trying to bring the Constitution back into schools. Which
would be great. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. The entities would be judged by the South Carolina, the entries by the South Carolina Legislative Sportsman's Caucus, and the winners would be recognized and honored by the South Carolina legislator. Clemens hopes for an early hearing before the House Education Committee this year. The proposed date for Second Amendment Awareness Day, December 15th, falls just one day after the anniversary of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, during which gunmen, we know about that. And then, it goes on. Clemens said he filed the bill in response to zero-tolerance rules at schools across the state that prevent students from bringing guns on campus, which he thinks have turned into a anti-Second Amendment policy. Like, the shootout gun thing with the Pop-Tart. That policy, in my mind, is subjecting the rising generation to the mindset of the instrument, the firearm, is evil regardless of the hand that the firearm is in. Clemens explains to Carolina Live. Like you said, guns don't shoot themselves.
Right.
Someone has to pull the trigger. Another bill filed by the state senator, Lee Bright, would take children out of the classroom and to the gun range for a semester-long course on firearm safety. It would include target practice, gun rights, and gun history. The course would be an elective. I think this is great.
It is too, and guess what? The show is over. So make sure everyone sticks around. Mr. Kevin Blanche is up next live. It is Tuesday night, so we got live Chuck Ocelli. We got Primer Time Radio. Make sure you catch the new time at 9 p.m. tonight Eastern. I'm going to change that in the schedule. We got Prepper Chicks After Dark Live and Antimedia Radio with SM Gibson and Deirdre Young. So, guys, stick around. It's Tuesday. It's always fun. Thank you so much, Zorie, for being here today. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.